Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. A very warm welcome to all the devotees to Srimad Bhagavatam study classes. This is our 31st class, and today we are going to finish the discussion on chapter 11 of first canto, and we will continue the discussion where we left from the previous class from the 24th verse, and we'll go all the way to the end and the last verse, that is the 39th verse. The topic of this chapter is Lord Krishna entrance into Dwarka. But before we begin our regular study, would like to request Rakesh ji, whose turn is today? Can you please remind me?
Mangala Mataji.
Okay, Mangala Mataji, kindly help us reciting the Mangalacharan prayers.
Yes, Prabhuji. Last week only, I think I have recited, Prabhu. I don't mind reciting now.
Did you recite or Anuradha Mataji recited? You recited?
Sorry, Prabhu. Just
yes,
let me
Mataji, I
check.
recited last week.
15 days back, I think I have recited. I don't mind Prabhuji reciting. I will recite.
Please recite. Yeah.
Mangalacharan. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjayana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Evane Ena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishto Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tadamaya Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanaha Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saha Ganalalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vaja Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Very nice. Continue, please.
Next one. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayto Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Very nice, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. Now I would like to invite Vasudevan Prabhuji to kindly take us to the recap of previous class. That is class number 30. Vasudevan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
Dandavat Pranam to Prabhuji or Guruji, as also Dandavat Pranam to all the Bhagavatas that were in this class. Last week, which was class number 30, we covered slokas 1 to 24 of chapter 11 of Canto 1 of Bhagavatam. These slokas covered the Lord's consul announcing his arrival, how the citizens welcomed Lord Krishna, decorations of Dwarka city, and Lord's reciprocation of the reception. These are we covered. We started with sloka number 1 and 2, where Lord Krishna heralded his arrival blowing his conch, which dispelled the dejection of Dwarkavasis. This is poetically described as if a white swan, which is a conch, was playing in the senses of red lotus flowers, Lord's lips. Now, in the purport of this sloka, Prabhupada says, by spiritual contact with the Lord, everything becomes spiritually reddened, like the conch shell. More importantly, how do we measure the love for somebody? We measure the love, Prabhuji very well explained, that sambhog and viyog, that is a pain on separation and joy on meeting, represents our love for somebody. And here you can see in this word dejection. Dejection itself shows how much they love Lord Krishna. Similarly, earlier we saw in the previous classes how the Hastinapur Vasis didn't want Krishna to go, so much so the Pandavas accompanied him for a considerable part of the way before Lord Krishna had to ask him. So these are the indications of our love. Now proceeding further to sloka number 3, where we are seeing, hearing the sound which gives fears to the dangers of material existence, the citizens quickly ran towards the Lord to have a long desired audience with him. Then long desired audience, again another indication of their love for Sri Krishna. Then from slokas 4 to 10, we are covering the citizens' welcome to Lord Krishna. And in sloka 4 and 5, citizens affectionately welcomed the Lord, offered gifts, and began speaking ecstatically to him. Now, speaking ecstatically is again another indication of the love. It's not normal speaking. And in Bhagavatam, you will see everywhere these specific words which have special significance. Again, that love is expressed in the ecstasy of the people who want to talk when they are talking to him. In slokas 6 to 10 are actually prayers in praise of the Lord. Sloka 6 talks about the incomparable supremacy of the Lord. And what citizens are saying, we continually offer respects to your lotus feet, which are worshipped by Brahma, Kumandra, which are the supreme shelter of those who aspire for the highest benefit in life, and which are never influenced by inevitable time. So these are the qualities. Then continuing this, sloka number 7, they're saying, following you gives all success. And O Creator of the universe, please bless us with your mercy. You are our mother, well-wisher, Lord, Father, Guru, and worshipable deity. By following your footsteps, we have become successful. Then continuing the praise, the sloka number 8, rare fortune of your darshana. He says, in you we have found our master. We have become successful because we can see your form with a face smiling in love and glancing in affection, which are rarely seen even by demigods. And this is, Prabhuji explained very well, that demigods also do not get to see Krishna in form. If you see Canto 10, before Krishna's advent, when the cow goes and when the earth in the form of cow goes to Brahma complaining of the atrocities, then Brahma along with Shiva and the Devas and the cow go to the shore of Kshirosagra, and Brahma actually meditates on Lord and reciting Purusha Sukta. Then the Lord does not appear. The Lord comes in his mind, and then it's his Ashiriri voice. He tells, you all, I will take birth in the Yadava clan. You all go take birth in Yadava clan to support me. And my Adishesha will come as my elder brother. So he just conveys them. He does not even there give them his sight. So that is the example that the Lord's sight is rare even for the demigods, even when they are praying. Then moving on to sloka number 9, unbearable separation. O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away, every moment of your absence seems like a million years. O Achyuta, at that time our eyes become useless. So here in the purport, we saw when they say light is, eyes have become useless, it's as if there is no sun. And in the purport, we saw sun and light are symbolic of knowledge and darkness of Maya and ignorance. Now, here again, see if you see these 4 slokas, then the sloka number 10 says, how to live without you. So they're saying when you are away, we cannot look at your attractive face, whose smiles vanquish all our sufferings. How can we exist without your presence? So acknowledging all their greetings, the Lord enters the city. You see the last four slokas where they have described all this. It's everything about any Stotanita. First, that you are the greatest, you are the creator, you are the supreme person. Then he says, we need your mercy to progress. And then your darshana is very rare, and we are fortunate to have darshan, and we cannot stay with you. Ultimately, a bhakta in bhakti says, he cannot be separate from you, and he wants to be engaged in bhakti with the Lord all 24/7. That's a message. Then moving on to sloka number 11 to 15, decoration of city of Dwaraka. We will rush through this quickly. All the gates and doors were decorated with festive signs, flags, garlands, painted signs, slogans, all combined to shade the sunshine. All major roads were cleaned and sprinkled with scented water. And in every house, auspicious things like yogurt, unbroken fruits, sugarcane, etc., were displayed as a mark of welcome to Lord Krishna. Then slokas 16 to 18, Vasudeva, Akrura, Ugrasena, Balrama, Pratyutna, and all other relatives, the moment they heard this sound of his conch, they left whatever they were doing and became extremely happy, and out of affection immediately got onto their chariots. And not only they came along with them, they brought the Brahmanas, whomever they could meet, they brought all of them to meet Krishna. That is the enthusiasm and happiness. Then sloka 19 and 20 is that prostitute, expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, and learned speakers did their respective performances to welcome the Lord. And we saw Prabhuji explain very well. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada has also explained that prostitution is a necessary evil for some lower class of men. Otherwise, they will tend to pollute the good society to fulfill their desires. Then sloka 21 and 22, Lord's reciprocation. Lord Krishna duly honored everyone and properly greeted them in terms of their age, rank, position, by bowing, greeting, embracing, shaking hands, looking, smiling, assuring, and awarding benediction. Now, in this purport also we saw that Lord is equally affectionate to all, since all living beings are separated part and parcels of the Lord, and no one is alien by his eternal relation. There will be difference between people because of the extent of material contamination, but the Lord understands that. And this we have seen in earlier episodes also in Hastinapura. Krishna would embrace people of equal age like Arjuna and Bhima. Then he will bow to Yudhishthira and Bhishma, who are elder to him. And then the younger ones, of course, he gives benedictions and this thing. So Krishna, even though he is the Lord, when he is on the earth, he always behaves appropriate to his position in society. Then sloka 23 and 24, then the Lord entered the city accompanied by elderly relatives, invalid Brahmanas and their wives, all offering benedictions and glorifying the Lord. The women of Dwaraka went up to the roofs of palaces when Krishna passed along the public roads to enjoy the festival of seeing him. It is identical to what we saw in Hastinapur also. The ladies go to the rooftop. They didn't mix with the crowd on the road. Ladies always, as traditional Indians, ladies keep themselves separate, but they still enjoy the festivity of seeing Lord Krishna, getting his blessings, exchanging glances with him, etc. And Prabhuji also explained very well about the invalid Brahmanas. Brahmanas who are of old age or some way incapacitated and not able to carry on their regular duties that they are, then they are all protected by the king. They sing praises of the king, give benedictions to the king, and they are duly rewarded by the king. This was a very practice to keep the society in balance and everybody well provided. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this opportunity for this recap. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vasudevan Prabhuji. This was very nicely captured, picking up the main points from the verses and very briefly and succinctly capturing the purport point, important purport point from Prabhupada. So very nice recap, very good summary. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So let us now proceed to the main part of the class today, where we are going to continue our discussion from the 24th, or I would say 25th verse onwards. Before I do so, I would like to request for, I think, maybe 3 volunteers today.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
I
so
am
Rakesh ji
I
want
am
to do
there.
it.
I am
And
also
then Manish ji want to do it.
And I can also do, Prabhuji.
And Jeevan Prabhu want to do it.
I
Okay.
too wanted to.
Oh, Vanaja Mataji as well. Okay. So we have roughly 25 to 39, something like 15, 16 verses. So maybe 4 verses per devotee we can allocate. So you can see here we have already discussed till 24th verse. Now this 24th verse, where Lord Krishna is on the main road, walking on the main road of Dwarka, and the ladies have climbed up on the rooftop, enjoying the festivity of Lord Krishna walking on the road. So there are some beautiful descriptions about Lord's attractive beauty. And 27th verse is little special. It gives the Lord beauty in a very unique way, in a form of a natural phenomena. So we will see what is this 27th verse. And then when the Lord enters the city, Lord actually have already entered the city. Now he is reciprocating with some special relatives, like very close relatives. For example, reciprocation with mothers, Devaki and other mothers. And then how he deals with the queens of Dwarka, his queens, 16,108 queens. Then uh, 36 to 39 is a description that when we are talking about dealing with the wives, Lord is dealing with the wives. Then there is a little description that when the Lord is dealing with his wives, how that description, how that dealing with the better half is not on the material plane, it is actually on the spiritual plane. So there are some very beautiful verses describing the transcendental character of the Lord. So the Lord is not engaging with his uh, wives out of any desire for enjoying the senses, uh, but in order to enjoy the spiritual devotional service the queens of Dwarka are trying to offer to the Lord. So we will come to those verses also. And that will finish this chapter. So let us begin the study for today's session. So we will just recap the 24th verse. Maybe Rakesh Prabhu, please can you read from here?
The women of Dwarka went up to the roofs of their palaces when Krishna passed along the public roads to have a festival of seeing him. Tad Ikshana Mahotsava.
Yeah, so we have already discussed this in the previous class. So this is about Lord is now passing on the public road. So you can see in the picture, Lord Krishna is passing on the public road, and the ladies of Dwarka have climbed on the rooftop to have to enjoy the festival of seeing him. So the special part of this verse is festival of seeing the Lord. So when we see the Lord, that is actually a festival. Tad Ikshana Mahotsava. Tad Ikshana Mahotsava. So let us move ahead. What is that festival? Let us see how it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. 25th verse. So here we are going to recite this verse. Nityam nirikshamananam
Nityam Nirikshamananam
yadapi dvarakaukasam
Yad Api Dwaraka Kasam
na vitrapyanti hidrishaha
Na Vitrapyanti Hidrashaha
shriyo dhamangam achyutam.
Shriyo Dhamangam Achyutam.
So here the Lord's insatiable beauty has been described. Insatiable beauty means, in the word insatiable means you are never satiated, you are never satisfied drinking the beauty of the Lord. So insatiable beauty is something which you want to do it all the time. You are never feeling any boredom from this beauty. So nityam nirikshamananam. Nityam means always. Nirikshamananam means those people who are always having darshan of the Lord. Yaddapi dwarakaukasam. Yaddapi dwarakaukasam. The dwarakaukasam means the residents of Dwarka. So the inhabitants of Dwarka were regularly accustomed to look upon. So residents of Dwarka, and Lord Krishna was also belonging to Dwarka. So the residents were always used to looking upon Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna might be passing on the road, or Lord Krishna might be ruling in the court of the Dwarka, or maybe some other occasion when the Dwarka Vasis would actually witness the Lord. So sometimes when we are living in a city and we kind of meet some person off and on, quite often, then we don't feel too much curiosity about that person. We feel, oh, we know this person, we identify with this person, we understand about this person. So there is nothing very curiosity about that person. Uh, but here it is not the case with Dwarkavasis, who are regularly accustomed to look upon the Lord, have darshan of the Lord. Why? Na vitrapyanti hidrisha. The reservoir of all beauty. Vitrapyanti. Vitrapyanti means trapt. Trapyanti means satisfaction. Trapt ho jana. Like when we are very thirsty and we drink some cold glass of water. So we feel our thirst has been quenched. We feel very satisfied. We feel relief. So, but the Dwarka Vasis are drinking the beauty of the Lord, insatiable beauty of the Lord all the time. Every time, sometimes on the road, sometimes in the court, sometimes elsewhere. But they never and never feel trapt. They never and never feel vitrapyanti hidrisha. The more they look at the beauty of the Lord, they are never satiated. Shriyo dhamangam achyutam. Shriyo dhamangam. So Shriyo dhamangam means, Shri means beauty, Saundarya. Shri means beauty. Dhamangam means the Lord's body or the Lord's form is the abode of beauty. Abode of beauty means, like for example, we say Himalaya. Himalaya means the abode of Him, abode of snow. Everywhere you will see snow. Similarly, when we see the form of the Lord, it is all beauty. Everything about the form of the Lord is very beautiful. Shriyo Dham Angam Achyutam. Achyutam means infallible Lord. So every part of the body of the Lord is so beautiful that Suta Goswami is describing is Shriyo Dhamangam. It is the abode of all beauty. And in the Dwarka Vasis who are accustomed to see the Lord, always they are never satiated. They are never satisfied to have darshan of the Lord when the Lord comes across to these Dwarka Vasis. So what does this mean for us? What does this mean? What is the philosophical understanding of this verse? The philosophical understanding of this verse is that spiritual beauty increases the more and more we enjoy spiritual beauty. The more and more we enjoy material beauty, it becomes boring. It becomes boring. For example, we have a nice suit to wear or a nice sari to wear. When we wear this suit 2 times, we wear the suit 3 times or multiple times, we start feeling boring. We want something new. We want something more exciting as our dress, so that when something new comes, we start feeling exciting. That is something to do with the material beauty. But when it comes to spiritual beauty never fades. Its attraction actually continues to increase and increase and increase. Why it is so? Because spiritual beauty has higher taste. Spiritual beauty has higher taste. Param drashtva na nivartate. Like in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we hear this verse, Param drashtva na nivartate. Like when we have taste of this higher, when we taste this higher taste, it is continuously increasing for us. So that is what it means. Now, for Dwarka Vasis, it was possible to observe, to have darshan of the Lord on a regular basis, either on the streets or elsewhere in the Dwarka, because they were residing in the same city. What does it mean for us? How can we have darshan of the Lord every day? So we should not feel morose that we are probably not living in Dwarka, or maybe are not living in a city where the Lord himself is residing in this time and age. We can have regular darshan of the Lord in the form of deities. We can visit to the temple. We have the darshan of the deities regularly before our eyes, and we can have the darshan of the Lord by chanting the holy name of the Lord. We can have darshan of the Lord by reading Srimad Bhagavatam daily. So when we do these activities, we also can have the opportunities of having the darshan of the Lord always. So that is how we can also experience the insatiable beauty of Lord Krishna in our lives. Okay. Next verse, Prabhu. Shriyo Nivasa Yasyoraha
Shriyo Nivasa Yasyora
Panapatram Mukham Drasham
Panapatram Mukham Brasham
Bahavo Lokapalanam
Bahavo Lokapalanam
Saranganam Padambujam.
Taranganam Padambujam.
Very nice. Okay. So Shriyo Nivaso Yasyo Raha. Now here different bodily parts of Lord Krishna has been compared uh, with something uh, to glorify the beauty of the Lord. So Shriyo Nivaso Yasyo Uraha. Uraha means the shoulders, the chest. Ura means Vakshasthal. Vakshasthal means the chest. So what is his Vakshasthal like? His Vakshasthal is the Shriyo Nivas. Shriyo Nivas. Shriyo Nivas means the abode of goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. So his chest is like where Lakshmi Devi resides. Then Panapatram Mukham Drisham. Panapatram Mukham. Mukham means the face. So his face is like Panapatram. Panapatram means, Patra means a vessel. Pan means drinking. Panapatram, a drinking vessel. So it is, his face is something like a vessel in which the beauty has been kept, and somebody who has this vessel can actually drink the unlimited beauty of the Lord with this Panapatram. So just continue to look at the glorious face of the Lord, and it is something like you are drinking with that face, which is like a vessel. You are drinking some very sweet and tasty beverage, and you are enjoying yourself like anything. So that is the lotus face of the Lord, which is like Panapatram Mukham Drisham. Mukham Drisham. Then Bahavo Lokapalanam. Bahavo. Baho means the arms, the bahus, the bhujas. Bahavo Lokapalanam. So his bhujaye, his his arms are actually like the resting place for the demigods. Lokpal. Lokpal means the demigods have been given this activity of managing the affairs of the universe. So that is Lokpal. Bahavo. Bahavo Lokapalanam. Resting place for the demigods, arms. And then Saranganam Padambujam. Saranganam Padambujam. Saranga. Saranga is actually representative of, this word is representative of devotees. Why devotees? Because Sar means the essence. Devotees are actually essence seekers. Essence seekers. They don't actually bother about useless philosophy, karma kand, demigod worship, etc., etc. They are not bothered about it. They are actually really interested in the Sar, the essence, and the essence is to connect themselves with with Lord Krishna. So Saranganam Padambujam. So he is, the Lord Krishna is the refuge for pure devotees. And what is the refuge for the pure devotees? Lord's lotus feet. Pad Ambujam. Ambuj means lotus and Pad means the feet. So lotus feet of the Lord is actually the refuge for the pure devotees. So these are the four aspects of Lord's beauty. Now we'll move to the next one. 27th. So this is the verse which I was mentioning to you in the beginning of the class, which is very, very sweet, very, very poetic in nature. The poet has, Sut Goswami, or I would say Srila Vyasdev, has expressed the beauty of the Lord with choicest of poetry. We call Lord Krishna as Uttam Shlok. and choicest of poetry. Now you will see this choicest of poetry. The example, this verse could be one of those examples where Lord's beauty has been described as choicest of poetry. Here in this verse, the beautiful part is that Lord beauty has been described as an inconceivable natural phenomena. Natural phenomena means, what do we see in nature? We see sun, we see moon, we see stars, we see rainbow, we see clouds, etc., etc. So all those natural phenomena that we see all around us all the time has been put together in one verse to explain the inconceivable beauty of the Lord. And the natural phenomena also you see is inconceivable. And probably you will understand what do I mean by inconceivable. Let us first of all try to uh, recite this verse. सीतातपत्र व्यजनेरुपस्कृताः
हितातपत्र व्यजनेरूपस्कृतः
प्रसूनवर्षैरभिवर्षितः पथि
प्रसूनवर्षैरभिवर्षितः पथि
पिशङ्गवासावनमालया बभौ
पिशङ्गवासा वनमालया बभौ
घनो यथार्कोडुपचापवैद्युतैः.
घनो यथार्कोडुपचापवैद्युतैः.
Very nice, very nice. Okay. Now let us try to dive little deeper into this beautiful verse. Sitat patra vyajanair upaskritah. Sitat patra vyajanair upaskritah. So let us try to understand individual words. Sitat patra. Sitat patra actually is the white umbrella. Now you see the picture here. So this picture has been painted by the artist from this particular verse only. So this is dedicated painting to verse number 27th of this chapter. So Sitat Patra, this is the white umbrella. When the Lord is moving on the roads of Dwarka, a white umbrella is there above the Lord. Sitat Patra. Vyajanair. Vyajanair means the charmer. These are the two charmer whisks. You see there, these two charmer whisks, they are actually going around in circles to fan the Lord. So Sitat Patra Vyajanair Upaskritaha. Upaskrita means endowed with. I mean, they are in the service of the Lord. Sitat Patra Vyajanair Upaskritaha. Then Prasuna Varshair. Prasuna Varshair Abhivarshitaha Pathi. Prasuna Varshair. Varshair means rain. Rain. So there is a rain of what? There's a rain of prasoon. Prasoon means the flowers. Abhivarshita Pathi. Pathi means on the road of Dwarka, there is a rain of flower being carried upon Lord Krishna. So when the Lord is moving, the flowers are being showered upon the Lord. Then Pishangavasa Vanamalaya Babhu. Pishangavasa. Pishangavasa means the yellow colored dhoti. The yellow colored dhoti. The Lord is wearing that yellow colored dhoti. Vanamalaya Babhav. Vanamalaya means the garland made up of forest flowers. Vanamalaya. So this is the garland the Lord is wearing. Vanamalaya Babhav. Ghano. Okay. So on the road furnished with umbrella and chamaras, showered with flowers, wearing yellow cloth with a garland. So you will see here, there is an umbrella, there is a chamar, there are flowers being showered, there is a yellow dhoti, and there is a garland. Now, Vyasdev is comparing all these particular aspects of the beauty of the Lord to some natural phenomena. What is saying? Ghano yatharko rupachapa vaidyutaha. So he is appearing like a cloud, which with the sun and the moon and the rainbow and lightning. So have you ever seen in nature that there is a cloud which is also fitted with the sun? Then there are moons, not only one moon, actually two moons, and then there is a rainbow also, and then there is lightning also, and there are stars also. Have you seen any natural phenomenon like that? No. It is an inconceivable natural phenomena. So what are these various objects? What could be cloud? Cloud is actually Lord Krishna's hue and color, Lord Krishna's bodily hue, which is something like of a rain cloud. So bluish, blackish complexion, that is Lord Krishna's complexion. So that has been compared to a cloud. With the sun, what is the sun? Sun is actually the white umbrella on the above the Lord. That is the sun. And then the moon, ghano yath arko. Ark means sun. Ghano means cloud. Arko is sun. And then odupa. Udupa actually means the moon. So there are two moons going around in circles. The chamaras, there are like two moons. And then uh, Vanamalaya. So these flower garlands are actually uh, uh, chapa. Chapa means the bow. Chapa means the bow. So and Vedyutai means lightning. Lightning means the yellow color dhoti is actually like the lightning. It is very bright and effulgent. So here you can see how Lord Krishna's beautiful bodily form has been compared to a inconceivable natural phenomena. So Bhagavatam means best of poetry by Shila Vyasdev. So Shila Vyasdev as a poet at its best, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. And this verse is something like which is expression of a poet in a very, very beautiful form. And you can enjoy the beauty of this verse just by trying to understand the depth, how nicely Shila Vyasdev has compared it to a inconceivable natural phenomena, the Lord's beauty. Okay. So this is what I have picked up from the Sararth Darshini Tika of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is actually one paragraph which I have tried to broken into various bullet points. Rakesh ji, can you please read it just to summarize everything?
Lord's beauty is compared to an inconceivable natural phenomena. A comparison is made between Krishna and a cloud. The umbrella is like the sun, and the waving of two chamaras with their circular movements are like two moons. The showers of flowers are like stars. The flower garland is like two rainbows. His yellow cloth is like lightning. It is astonishing that the sun and two moons simultaneously shine on a cloud with the stars, two rainbows, stationary and stationary lightning. This is how Lord appeared.
Yes. So this is how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given the purport for this particular beautiful verse, where beauty has been compared with a natural phenomena. Okay, now we move to our next devotee for reading. Manish Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji. Please, can you read
Yes,
the
Prabhu.
28th verse?
Yeah. After entering the house of his father, he was embraced by the mothers present, and the Lord offered his obeisances unto them by placing his head at their feet. The mothers were headed by Devaki, his real mother.
Hmm. Now, Lord Krishna has entered the house of his father, and in the house of his father, there were many mothers. So, Lord Krishna had many mothers, like because his father had uh, many wives. I think he had 18 wives along with Devaki. So Devaki, along with 17 other stepmothers, when Lord Krishna entered into the house, he was embraced by the mothers present there. Lord offered his obeisances unto them, and by placing the head at their feet. So Lord bowed down to the mothers, not only Devaki, who was the actual real mother, but also to the 17 other stepmothers. Lord Krishna paid the same with the same amount of respect, bowed down to their feet. The mothers were headed by Devaki, his real mother. So this is how Lord Krishna, first of all, exchanged his greetings with the mother, paying them obeisances into their feet, and he made no distinction between his actual mother, his real mother Devaki, and his stepmothers. So Vasudev, the father being mentioned here is Vasudev, who is along with his multiple queens, like 18 queens. So here we will see something which is mentioned in the purport. Prabhuji, please can you read this?
7 mothers. According to scriptures, also there are 7 mothers. 1, the real mother. 2, the wife of the spiritual master. 3, the wife of Brahmana. 4th, the wife of the king. 5th, the cow. 6th, the nurse. And 7th, the earth. All of them are mothers. Even by this injunction of the Shastras, the stepmother, who is the wife of the father, is also as good as the mother because the father is also one of the spiritual masters.
So there are, Prabhupada actually clarifies that there are multiple mothers we have in one's life. So one is our real mother, from where we are, our biological mother, from where we take birth. The wife of the spiritual master means Guru Patni. The wife of Brahmana, the Brahmani, is also like a mother to us. The wife of the king, like the queen, a mother queen, is also a mother to us. The cow, Gau Mata, we call it popularly, is also a mother. The nurse, Dhai Mata, the nurse who actually helps in giving us birth, and earth, Dharti Mata. So the earth, so these are the 7 mothers which are mentioned in the scriptures. All of them are mothers. Even by this injunction of the Shastras, the stepmother, who is the wife of the father, is also as good as the mother because the father is also one of the spiritual master. So here in this list, the second mother has been given as the wife of the spiritual master. So we also consider our father as our guru because we learned many things from our father. So wife of father, although he or she may be a stepmother, because she is the wife of the father, is also like a mother to us. That is how Srila Prabhupada is explaining that why Lord Krishna actually considered the stepmothers also as respectable as his own mother, which is Srimati Devaki Devi. Okay. Now please read the 29th verse, Prabhu.
Yes. The mothers, after embracing their son, sat him on their laps. Due to the pure affection, milk sprang from their breast. They were overwhelmed with delight, and the tears from their eyes wetted the Lord.
Now here, once again, you can see the extent of love the mothers are having for Lord Krishna. Although Lord Krishna is something which is of a quite an advanced age, but here, after embracing Lord Krishna, the mothers made Lord Krishna sat on their laps as if he's a very young boy, sat on their laps, and then milk start to flow from their bodies. So this is the extent of love and devotion of the mothers that is being mentioned here uh, uh, in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. And not only we also see in many of the description that when Lord Krishna was in Vrindavan, and then he would go to uh, for cow grazing. He would go to graze the cows in the fields in the forests of Vrindavan. Then the cows also would feel motherly affection, and then their udders also will get filled with milk and will overflow with milk. So what to speak then of those stepmothers who were as good as mothers only. So they were overwhelmed with delight, and the tears from their eyes wetted the Lord. So all these emotional feelings are indicative of the intense, loving, devotional feelings towards Lord Krishna. In this case, in this verse, the stepmothers and the real mother Devaki is being mentioned here. So let us go to the next part. 30th verse, Prabhu, can you read it?
Yeah. Dealing with the queens. Thereafter the Lord entered his palaces, which were perfect to the fullest extent. His wives lived in them, and they numbered over 16,000.
So now, after meeting the mothers, Lord Krishna is entering into the palaces. Now, it is being mentioned here that the Lord entered in each of the palace at the same time. So this is again indicative that the Lord is not an ordinary person. We don't have any experience of an ordinary living entity can enter into two houses at the same time. Either he can enter one house or he can enter the other house. But here we see that the Lord entered in his palaces simultaneously, which were perfect to the fullest extent. Perfect to the fullest extent means the palaces were full of every beauty, every requirement that somebody may have. They were full of all kind of facilities. a very detailed description about the palaces of Lord Krishna has been given in the 10th canto. So we will not discuss much about it, but suffice it to say that the palaces were completely filled with all kind of necessities, and they were really lavish and opulent. And they were not one or two palaces. For each queen, the Lord had one palace each. And how many wives did Lord Krishna had? 16,108 wives. So for each of these wives, Lord had provided for 16,108 palaces, and he entered into all those palaces at the same time. So he expanded into as many forms as the number of queens. Now, what does it mean to us? How, what education or lessons we can learn from this? The main lesson we can learn from this is that the Lord is not an ordinary person. And when common people try to understand that Lord had so many wives, 16,108 wives, they they try to doubt, or they try to doubt the character of the Lord. They seem to think that how can one person can marry with so many wives? This seem to be a person who is very much eager towards sense gratification, but that is a big mistake they make. They consider the Lord to be at the same level as they are themselves. They are at the materialistic level, and they think that Lord is also at the materialistic level. But out of their foolishness, they are not able to understand that Lord was able to provide to each of these queens a separate palace, and not only able to provide, but actually was able to live with them simultaneously at the same time. So he's not an ordinary person. He's not an ordinary person. Another way we can understand these kind of uh, topics is that we try to think that when the Lord is marrying with so many wives, he's actually a person who's trying to enjoy his senses. But we try to forget that everything actually in this world belongs to the Lord. Isha Vasyam idam sarvam. Everything actually belongs to the Lord. So the ladies or the queens of Dwarka actually belongs to the Lord. It is us, when we marry, when we go into marry, or when we enter into the institution of marriage, and the wife we accept, or the wife when she accepts the husband, actually we try to steal the property of the Lord. Although we try to do it in a shastric way, that we take permission from the society and so on, but it is we who are trying to take permission of the society to live together, to enjoy together with our better halves, with our spouses. So everything actually belongs to the Lord. It is we who actually try to encroach upon the property of the Lord, thinking it to be ours. So this is how, if we try to see our world around us in this particular fashion, that everything belongs to the Lord, then Lord having 16,108 wives will not find surprising. Actually, everything belongs to the Lord. Not only 16,108, but every other lady in this universe actually belongs to the Lord. That is actually what we should understand. Then in this purport, you will see there are a lot of other cultural things of Vaishnav etiquette or culture has been mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says that uh, takes this opportunity to explain that when Lord Krishna was away from Dwarka, so the wives were always meditating upon the Lord. And when it's a general custom, when the husband is away, then wife actually does not decorate herself. She also does not go to other places to visit, because decorating oneself, going out to other places and so on, are indication that one is feeling very jolly, one is feeling very joyful. But out of separation from the husband, the wives generally does not decorate themselves very well. And when the husband comes back, that is also given in the purport by Prabhupada, that wife, whenever they go in front of their husband, they should be well decorated, well dressed, so that when the husband looks at the wife, he feel very joyful, he feel very happy. He should not feel morose when the husband looks at the wife, maybe shabbily dressed, maybe not properly made up, and so on. So uh, the wives of the Lord were also like pure devotees. They were out of separation of the Lord, were constantly remembering the Lord. So in a way, they were in samadhi. In samadhi means uh, where we are in the deep remembrance of our Lord Krishna. That is something which has been defined as samadhi. And when the Lord came back to Dwarka, they gave up their samadhi meditation and uh, developed deep desire to embrace the Lord. Like out of conjugal relationship, they developed deep desire to embrace the Lord. Now, it has been explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that this desire for embracing the Lord is not out of any sensual enjoyment. And there are a number of verses coming forward where we will discuss about them. So that is what the 30th verse is. Maybe now you can read the 31st verse, Manish ji.
Yeah. The queens rejoiced to see their husband home after a long period. They got up at once from their seats and was socially customary, covered their faces shyly, and looked about the coyly.
So you can see here, as I was mentioning, there is a lot of cultural aspect being mentioned here. So although the relationship between wife and husband is an intimate relationship, but a public display of that intimacy is not we see in the Vedic culture. Even here also you can see when the queens saw the husband coming back after a long period, they got up once from their seats. Immediately they got up once. Their samadhi was broken. They were remembering the Lord when they were separated. And as was socially customary, they covered the faces shyly. They when they look at the Lord, they were shy. They were feeling shy, and and they were looking at the Lord very coyly, very in a very shy fashion. They were looking at the Lord. So there is some Vedic culture you can see explained and described in this particular verse. Okay, now let us give the opportunity to Jeevan Prabhu. Prabhuji, uh, please can
Yes,
you read the
Prabhuji.
32nd verse?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
The superable ecstasy was so strong that the queens who were shy first embraced the Lord in the innermost recesses of their hearts. When they embraced him visually, and then they sent their sons to embrace him, which is equal to person embracing. But, O chief amongst the Phrugus, though they try to restrain their feelings, they inadvertently shed tears.
Hmm. Now again you can see how Srimad Bhagavatam is giving these indications how deep Dwarkavasis, including the mothers, the queens, and many other people, they loved so deeply. And when it is coming to different relatives, different relationships, how each of these relationships are exchanging those loving relationship between the Lord and themselves. Here also you see how when the queens of Dwarka, they saw their husband Lord Krishna entering into their palace, they immediately stand up from their seat, and then they cover their faces very shyly, looked at the Lord very shyly, and so on. And here, when they are looking at the Lord, they want to embrace the Lord, but out of social custom, they don't want to do it. They are not doing it. So, how do they embrace? And very poetically, uh, this has been described in this verse. They first of all, they embrace the Lord in the recesses of their hearts. So, in the heart, actually, they embrace the Lord. In they actually embrace the Lord in their heart. Yeah. Then, after embracing the Lord in their heart, what do? Then they embrace them visually. Visually means simply by their eyes. They embrace the Lord. And after embracing the Lord through their eyes, next embrace actually, what do? They actually send their son. They actually send their sons, go and embrace your father. So when the son embraces the father, the queens are thinking that they're actually embracing the Lord themselves. And how is it so? Because the son is considered to be the part of the body. Son develops from the body of the mother. Hence, when the son is embracing the father, the wife actually thinks that she's embracing the husband themselves. So this is how you can see how rich, how full of etiquettes, how full of maryada the Vedic culture is. The expression of love between the queens of Dwarka and their husband Lord Krishna has been very nicely described in this particular verse. But, O chief amongst the Bhrigus, uh, uh, though they try to restrain their feelings, they inadvertently shed tears. These sheer tears were tears of joy. So the Hastinapur Vasis were shedding tears of separation. But here the queens of Dwarka, although they are trying to restrain their feelings, they are trying to hold themselves, not to embrace, and they are trying to do all these kind in the inner recesses of their hearts and so on. But ultimately, the emotions are not able to contain. They are actually then coming out in the form of tears. Now, here, when we are talking about embracing in the heart, embracing through the eyes, embracing through the children, sons, etc., we are not talking about, these emotions are not representation of lust. We have discussed this topic multiple times in the past. These are not emotions representative of lust, but extreme devotion. Extreme devotion. Uh, Devotion means what? Devotion means two feelings. Devotion means two feelings. One feeling is we love the Lord too much. We love the Lord a lot. That is one emotion in devotion. There is second emotion in devotion, and that is reverence, out of respect. So a combination of reverence, respect, and love for the Lord. When these two emotions mix together, then comes out devotion. So this is not lust, this is not sense gratification, this is pure spiritual emotions in the form of devotion. So we should not think, when we are thinking of embrace here, embracing of any mundane embracing of a man and a woman, a common man and a woman. No, that is not the point. Here the embrace we can think is that when Lord Ramchandra is embracing Lord Hanuman out of devotion. So that is the same kind of emotion is here, and you will see in Srimad Bhagavatam, it will be clarified in the following verses. So, Prabhuji, we need to recite this verse.
Okay,
1, 2,
Prabhuji.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 syllables. This is which verse? This is which meter? 12 words, 12 syllables, which meter? Any idea? Vanshastha.
Is it Vamsastha or Indra Vamsha? There are four are
Yeah,
there.
Indravamsha, sorry,
Indra
Indravamsha.
Vamsha.
Yeah, Indravamsha.
T.T. Jaya.
Yeah, okay. So what should be the melody? What should be the melody? Now remember Karpanya dosho.
Correct.
Karpanya dosho upahata swabhavaha.
Okay.
So like this. Now Yadyapasau parshvagato raho gatas
यद्यपि असौ पर्शौ गतो रहो गतः
tathapi tasyanghriyugam navam navam
तथापि तस्याङ्घ्रियुगं नवं नवम्
pade pade ka viramet tatpada
पदे पदे का विरमेत तत्पदा
चलापि यच्छीर्ण जहाति करहि चेत्.
तदापि यच्चेन न जहाति कर्हिचित्.
Under, very nice, Prabhuji, very nice. So now you understand how are we trying to approach these meters, these verses,
Yes,
and try
Prabhuji.
to sing them and enjoy
Yeah.
the beauty of
Yeah.
Bhagavatam, not only
Yeah.
as a very emotional, devotional, spiritual book, not only the message, but also the poetic beauty that is captured by Srila Vyasadeva in these beautiful Sanskrit verses. So that is what we are trying to unfold. Now let us dive deep into the beautiful poetic meaning of this verse. Always fresh. Always fresh. What does it mean? Yadyapi asau parshvagato raho gatas. Parshvagato means living in the background. Living in the background means living in the side. So Lord is living in, and we are also living in the same house. So we are living together. Rahogatas. Rahogatas means living alone. Only Lord is there and we are there. Nobody else. So we are living with the Lord. The queens are living with the Lord constantly together and alone. There is nobody else. it is an exclusive opportunity to associate with the Lord. So a very special, I would say, privilege for the queens of Dwarka. But so what happens is, when we live with somebody for a very long time, when we live with somebody for a very long time, then their bodily features, actually become known to us, and we don't feel very enthusiastic or excited about when we meet that person, or when we see the maybe the face of that person, or maybe we see some other bodily form of that person. We don't feel very excited because we have been living with that person for a long time. Maybe that person has very beautiful hair, maybe that person is a very beautiful person in general, but we don't try to appreciate that beauty if we are constantly and regularly living with them. But in case of Lord Krishna and the queens of Dwarka, that is not the case. And what is being mentioned here? Tathapi tasyangri yugam navam navam. Hmm? Although Lord Krishna was constantly by their sides, as well as exclusively alone, his feet appear to them to be newer and newer. His lotus feet, the Sangri Yugam Navam Yagam. Yugam means two. So both the feet of Lord Krishna appeared always fresh, always new. Then Pade Pade ka Viramet Tatpadach. Pade Pade ka Viramet Tatpadach. So what woman can be detached from those feet, having once taken shelter of them? Now, if we are living with, in general, the relationship between husband and wife is already intimate. Now, in that relationship, if the wife tends to enjoy the feet, tends to enjoy one bodily or one beauty aspect of the husband every time, which is appearing very fresh, then what what woman can be detached from those feet, having once taken shelter of them? So that is the extent of beauty of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And then not only the queens of Dwarka are very attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, here one specific example also given. Chalapi yat shrir na jahati karhichit. Chalapi yat shrir na jahati karhichit. Chalapi means chanchal, very movable. Shri means Lakshmi Devi, goddess of fortune. So goddess of fortune is actually always restless. Goddess of fortune, although always restless and moving, and could not quit Lord's feet. So goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, is always massaging the feet of the Lord. Although Lakshmi Devi is very chanchal, she's sometimes here, sometimes there, but the attraction of Lord's lotus feet is so much that even Lakshmi Devi is not willing to leave the lotus feet of the Lord. Massaging the lotus feet of the Lord, even Lakshmi Devi is not interested. So once again, indicates a very intimate association between the Lord and the queens of the Lord. So like this, Bhagavatam is describing the various beautiful loving exchanges with various relatives of the Lord. Now we go to the 34th verse. Yes, Prabhu, please read.
Yeah. Killing, 34. The Lord was pacified after killing those kings who were burdensome to the earth. They were puffed up with their military strength, their horses, elephants, chariots, infantry, etc. He himself was not a party in the fight. He simply created hostility between the powerful administrators, and they fought amongst themselves. He was like the wind, which causes friction between bamboos and so sparks a fire.
Now you would see that this is a discussion going on. It seems like you are going and watching a film where nice poetic songs are being sung, romance is going on, loving exchanges between the hero and the heroine is going on, and all of a sudden there is talk about some war. Something comes and fires a bullet and kills somebody, and so on and so forth. It's something like a very abrupt change in the mood, uh, which we just now saw, have been discussing and studying the verses so far. where the loving exchanges between the beautiful queens of Dwarka and the Lord are going on. But abruptly, on the 34th verse, there is a discussion about killing. And here, what is being mentioned here? The Lord was specified after killing those kings who were burdensome to the earth. And what were these kings? These were kings like who were very, very proud of their military strength. And then Lord Krishna actually arranged in such a way that these kings were killed by creating animosity between themselves. Like there are two adharmic kings, they are ruling some kingdom, and Lord Krishna understands that these two kings are adharmic. Then what does he do? He creates into their hearts animosity between these two kings, and then they fight with each other, they kill each other, and then this adharma is gone and vanished from the planet. So what are we trying to do here? We are trying to underscore one important point through this contrast of explaining the beauty of the loving exchanges of queens of Dwarka and Lord Krishna, along with the killing that was going on or that happened in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. What does it mean? It means that although the Lord primary purpose is to enjoy loving dealings with his close associates, with his devotees, that is what the Lord enjoys the most. That is what the Lord actually wants to do the most. But that does not mean that is a desirable activity Lord wants to do. But at the same time, Lord is also interested by doing some undesirable activity, which is to kill these adharmic kings, which are creating havoc in the planet. So killing is not a desirable activity, but the Lord wants to do this activity as a matter of duty. Lord does this simply by creating animosity in the hearts of miscreants, and sometimes he might also do it through some devotees. For example, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight the battle. Arjuna, being devotional at heart, did not want to fight. He wanted to go to the forest. He wanted to beg alms. But Lord Krishna said, no, my dear, you have to do the duty. You have to do this. You have to do this undesirable act of your killing just to maintain law and order in the society. Why? Because I can actually do the primary activity which I am supposed to do, which is to exchange, to create devotional environment, to actually being able to exchange loving exchanges with my devotees. So this is something which is a mercy of the Lord, which is a love of the Lord, but expressed indirectly through killing. And this is the love expressed by the Lord for his devotees only. So this is the contrast we see that comes abruptly in Srimad Bhagavatam, and that is the way Srila Prabhupada explains this in the purport. And here's a very nice analogy given here. He was like the wind which causes friction between bamboos and so sparks a fire. So Lord does not have to do big things to create an atmosphere of dharma on this planet. He can simply create animosity between the hearts of two living entities, and they can fight and kill each other. And the analogy is given is simply like a wind. When the wind blows, there's a bamboo forest, and because of the blowing of the wind, the bamboos rub with each other, create friction, create heat, and then gets burned out. This is how the analogy has been given. Okay, now we move to the next one, and time now to give the opportunity to Vanaja Mataji. So thank you, Jivan Prabhu. Vanaja Mataji, please can you read from here? Are you there, Vanaja Mataji? Please, you need to unmute the mic. Vanaja Mataji, can you hear? Okay. Maybe Jivan Prabhu, can you continue this 25th verse?
Yeah,
35th verse? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Transcendental enjoyment. That supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, out of his costless mercy, appeared on this planet by his internal potency, Swa Mayaya, and enjoyed himself amongst competent women as if he were engaging in mundane affairs. Prakrito Yata.
Now you will see that now when we have discussed about the loving exchanges between the queens of Dwarka and Lord Krishna, Bhagavatam at this point is now trying to prepare that these loving exchanges were not mundane. They were not on the material platform, but they were on the spiritual platform. So that is what is being mentioned here. Out of his causeless mercy, appeared on this planet by his internal potency and enjoyed himself amongst competent women. Competent women means they were not ordinary women. They were very, very beautiful, and they were so beautiful that they could be they could be something like top top class, I would say, in terms of their beauty. If we say, they were really very beautiful, as if he were engaging in mundane affairs. So Bhagavatam is cautioning us. Bhagavatam is cautioning us that we need not understand these kind of loving exchanges between the wives, the queens of Dwarka, and the Lord as an ordinary affair. He were engaging not in mundane affairs. It was something like a very transcendental enjoyment. So the ladies, the wives of Lord Krishna, were ordinary ladies. These were devotees of the Lord who had done austerities for many, many, many lifetimes in their previous lives. And that is why they got this opportunity to become Lord's wives in this particular lifetime. And they, these exchanges, although they look mundane, but they are not. And uh, the hint is already given in these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, that how can one person be with 16,108 wives at the same time. So the person at discussion here, which is Lord Krishna, is not an ordinary person. So we should not compare his dealings, his activities to be ordinary. And when he's dealing with 16,108 wives, certainly these are not ordinary dealings. These are transcendental dealings. These are divine dealings. That's how we need to understand them. Okay, now comes the verse which we discussed in our uh, shloka recitation class today. The same verse. And you now know that this verse is written in which meter? This is written in Vasant Tilka meter. Vasant Tilka meter. So the 36th verse. Let us once again recite this. Uddama bhava pishuna malaval guhasa.
Uddama bhava pishumala varguhasa.
Vridavaloka nihato madano piyasam.
Vridavaloka nihato madano pityasam.
Sammuya chapam jahat pramadottamasta.
Sammuhya chapam ajahal pramadottamat pramadottamata.
Yasyendriyam vimathitum kuhukairna shekuhu.
Yashendriyam
Vimathitum.
vimatitum kuhaikai na sekuhu.
Right. Okay. Now let us see each line. Uddama bhava. Uddama bhava means with grave expressions. With grave expressions. Pishuna mala. Amala means spotless. Pishuna means exciting. One which excites. Valguhasa. Valguhasa means with beautiful smile. So this was the demeanor of the queens of Dwarka. They were expression were grave, they were very exciting, and they were filled with beautiful smile. And with that kind of expression, what they were doing, vrida avaloka, they were looking from the corner of their eyes, like the ladies would look. They would look in one direction, but from the corner of the eyes, they are looking at their husband. Vrida avaloka nihato madanopi yasam. So their vridavaloka, their sidelong glances, their indirect glances, they were actually so beautiful, they were so nice that they could even conquer nihato. Nihato means conquer. Conquer whom? Madano. Madano means the Cupid. They could even conquer the Cupid. Then sammuhya chapam. Sammuhya chapam. Chapam actually means the bow. So the Cupid has a flower bow, has a flowery bow. And the Cupid uses this bow every time when the Cupid wants to create conjugal feelings between a man and woman. between husband and wife. When the Cupid wants to create conjugal feelings, the Cupid is there and they strike these arrows of flower into the hearts of the man and into the heart of the woman, and that creates conjugal feelings. But the beauty of the queens of Dwarka was such that it would even conquer the flowery bow of Madan. Madanopi yasam sammuhya chapam. Chapam actually means, as I mentioned, bow. And then ajahat. Ajahat means leaving. Uh, because of the sidelong glances of the queens of Dwarka, they conquered the Cupid, and because the Cupid was conquered by them, they the Cupid actually left the bow. He thought that there is no need for me to have this bow. I cannot create any lusty feelings in the queens of Dwarka or Lord Krishna. This bow is of no use to me. And what pramadottamasta? Pramad means very a woman whose beauty could be very, very maddening. Uttama, and a woman whose beauty is not only maddening, but it is the
Can't hear your voice, Prabhuji. We lost your voice. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, we lost your voice.
He is disconnected, Prabhuji. He is
Yeah, he got
trying.
disconnected.
now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. No.
Can you hear
No.
me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we can
Sorry.
hear Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about it. Cannot do much. Are you able to see the screen?
No,
Yes,
not
Prabhuji.
yet.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
No, the slides, I mean.
No, Prabhuji.
Says not that.
Yes, now we
Okay.
can see.
Now
Okay.
I can see.
Now you can see it. Okay. So
Now
where
we
was
can
I?
see.
What was I explaining to you? Okay, maybe I was explaining from here the green line, right? Did I explain you the Uddam Bhava Pishu Namala Valguhasa?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So Vridavaloka Nihato Madanopi Yasam Sammuya Chapam Ajahat Pramadottamasta. So what is being mentioned here is, so the queens of Dwarka were so beautiful that they, because of their glances, actually could conquer the Madan, the Cupid, and because they could now conquer the Madan is now thinking that I don't need any chapam. Chapam means the bow. So Madan uses this bow mainly to create conjugal feelings between the men and women. But the queens of Dwarka were pure devotees of the Lord. So he could not create any kind of those uh, sensual feelings in the queens of Dwarka. And that is why he thought that I don't need this chapam. This chapam, this bow, actually is of no good use to me. So this is the beauty of the queens of Dwarka that could bewilder even Madan, the Cupid. And there is another meaning of this word Madan could be, if you read this word Madan as a Madan, then Amadan would mean Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is an Atmaram. He has full control of his senses. So much is the control of the senses, when Kamadev tried to agitate Lord Shiva opened his third eye and then burnt Kamdev into ashes. That is why Kamdev, another name, is also known as Ananga. Ananga means who does not have any anga, who does not have any body. So that is the extent of Atmaram, the control of senses Lord Shiva has. But even that Lord Shiva was bewildered when he saw the Mohini Murti avatar of Lord Shri Krishna. So here, what is being mentioned here is that the beauty of the Queen of Dwarka is so much that it could bewilder Madan, it could bewilder Cupid, it could even bewilder Lord Shiva. But such was the beauty of the queens of Dwarka. However, it could not bewilder even a tinge of the senses of Lord Shri Krishna. Yasendriyam vimithitam kuhakair nashekuhu. What does it mean? Still, despite all their magical feats actually here means kuhakair. Kuhakair means apne hav bhav ke saath. With all those magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. Yasyendriyam vimathitum. Vimathitum means they could not agitate. Kuhakair nashekuhu. So that was the beauty of the queens of Dwarka, but that could not agitate the senses of the Lord. So this is actually Srimad Bhagavatam here is trying to explain that these dealings between the queens of Dwarka and Lord Krishna are not at the mundane platform. So we have discussed all these points in our previous classes, like we discussed this in Nectar of Instruction, we discussed these points in Nectar of Devotion. But now here we are seeing that how Srimad Bhagavatam verses directly are explaining the same point directly. So this is what we try to understand here. Okay. Now we move to the next one. Prabhuji, Vanaja Mataji, are you able to hear me? Okay. Maybe Jivan Prabhu, you please continue.
Okay.
I am continue, your Lord.
Okay, Vanaja Mataji is there.
Yes.
So Mataji, please read from here.
Yes. Transcendental character of the Supreme Lord. Conditioned soul always speculate. The common materialistic conditioned soul speculate that the Lord is one of them. Out of that ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached.
The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate that the Lord is one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. Now here, as I was explaining to you, this is the common misconception about the Lord, or the dealings of Lord's queens, or the gopis, or Srimati Radhika Rani. Whenever we talk about these kind of pastimes of the Lord, or the dealings of the Lord with the wives and the gopis, etc., common man actually have a very incorrect understanding of these exchanges, these loving exchanges. They think that these are at the same platform as we actually try to enjoy other women, or the women try to enjoy other men. These are at the same platform, but it is only because of their gross ignorance that the Lord is affected by matter. Lord is not at all affected by matter, as we could see very clearly in the previous verse, 36th verse, that although the beauty of Queen of Dwarka is incomparable, But the same beautiful wives of Lord Krishna could not agitate the senses even a slight bit, despite having so much beauty. But still, the Lord was under the control of these queens. Now, how come? How come the lords are control of these queens, which will be explained uh, also in Srimad Bhagavatam? The lords are under the control of these queens mainly because the queens are pure devotees of the Lord. So the Lord is not attracted by their beauty. Their feminine beauty, the Lord is not attracted, but the Lord is attracted by their selfless devotional service that the wives of Dwarka, the queens of Dwarka, are trying to extend or offer to the Lord. So that is the Lord Krishna is. Lord is attracted to only devotional spiritual qualities of the devotees and not the material beauty. Janmashwarya Shruta Shribhir, like Queen Kunti is praying to the Lord. So you are not attracted by high birth, high opulence, very beautiful, very opulent. You are not attracted. You are simply attracted by pure devotional service of your devotees. So this is what this particular verse means. Now maybe you may like to read this paragraph.
Yes. Mental speculators misunderstand the Lord. The mental speculators misunderstand him as the Supreme Person, and they consider his personal futures as inexplainable Brahman to we all. Such a conception is also the product of conditioned life because they cannot go beyond their own personal capacity. Therefore, one who considers the Lord as the level of one's limited potency is only the common man. Such a man cannot convince that the personality of the Godhead is always unaffected by the moods of the material nature. He cannot understand the sun is always unaffected by the infection, yes, matter. The mental speculators compare everything from the standpoint of the experimental knowledge of their own selves.
Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada is very clearly explaining here that those who are mental speculators, who don't understand the depth and the confidential nature of the loving pastimes between the queens and the Lord, they simply think in their own terms. And a very good analogy is being given here, like the sun is always unaffected by infectious matter. Similarly, the Lord is always unaffected by the three modes, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So this is the main point from the purport. Now let us read the let us chant the verse number 38. Etad ishanam ishasya
एतत् ईशनम् ईशस्य
prakristhopi tadgunaihi
प्रकृत्यैतिशोऽपि तत्गुणैः
na yujyate sadatma sthair
न्यायुज्यते सतात्मेन सत्य
yatha buddhistadashraya.
यथा बुद्धिस्तथाश्रया.
Yeah. Now here the meaning of this particular verse is that like the Lord is transcendental, he is divine, he is unaffected by the modes of material nature. Similarly, the pure devotees of the Lord who have taken the shelter of the Lord, they also are unaffected by the material qualities. And here we are talking about the pure devotees, not devotees in practice like us, but these are pure devotees who are being talked about and discussed, that who have taken the shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. Etad ishanam ishasya. Ishanam, Ishanam means the divinity. Ishasya means divinity of the Lord. Ishasya means lords. So this is the divinity of personality of Godhead. Etad Ishanam Ishasya. This is the divinity of our personality of Godhead. What is the divinity? Prakristho. Prakristhopi tad gunai. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature. Even though he is in contact with them, he is in contact with the Prakriti, he is in contact with the material nature. Even though he is in contact with the material nature, but he is unaffected by the qualities of material nature. Na yujyate sadatma sthir. Similarly, na yujyate. Similarly, the devotee sadatma sthir. Sadatma sthir means those who are always situated in eternity. Yatha buddhis tadashraya. So those people who have taken the ashraya of the Lord, whose intelligence have taken the ashraya of the Lord, they also na yujyate, they also do not get entangled, they also do not get influenced by the material qualities. So this is what this particular verse says, that not only the Lord, but those devotees who take the shelter of the Lord also do not get affected by the modes of material nature. And here you can see in this picture, three modes of material nature are trying to uh, dance these living entities like puppets. But Lord Krishna is above these three modes. He's like sun, and these are like clouds. So Lord Krishna is above the three modes of material nature. Okay, now let us move to the 39th verse. Yes, Mataji, please read from here.
Transcendental character of the Supreme Lord.
Hmm.
Even queens cannot understand him. The simple and delicate women truly thought that their beloved husband followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller.
Hmm. So now the queens are also not able to understand their husband. The simple and delicate women truly thought that their beloved husband followed them and was dominated by them. So Lord Krishna was acting like a very good husband. So the queens were trying to ask Lord Krishna to do something. Lord Krishna would abide by it. He would quickly follow what the queens are asking. He would quickly fulfill their desire. So the queens thought that their husband is actually under their full control. They could dominate them. They could dominate their husband. Their husband followed them very well. Huh? So they were unaware of the extent of the glories of the husband, but they did not know he's actually Purna Purushottam Bhagavan. Huh? He can control everything else. So he's only getting controlled by them because they were pure devotees of the Lord. That is the only reason they were able to control the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the comparison has been given. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of the Lord, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller. So two kind of people are completely unaware of the godhood of the supreme personality of Godhead. One who are actually the close associate of the Lord, who are the Nitya Parshad, who are the close associate in the spiritual word of the Lord. And the second are the atheists, the atheists in this material world. So one is covered with Yog Maya. The close associates of the Lord are covered with Yog Maya, which make these devotees forgetful of the Lord. Why? Because if they don't forget about the Lord's godhood, they cannot exchange naturally the loving exchanges with the Lord, like Mother Yashoda would exchange uh, loving exchanges with Lord Krishna by scolding Lord Krishna. If Mother Yashoda would think that this boy bee is actually the Supreme Lord, how can Mother Yashoda can hit the Lord with a stick? How can she show her anger to the Lord? So this is Yog Maya. Yog Maya means it brings the devotee closer to the Lord, but in a positive way, by making him forgetful of the Lord, so that the loving dealings can happen in a very natural way. But then the second class is uh, atheists, and they are actually uh, being tormented by Mahamaya. And what does Mahamaya do? Mahamaya bewilders them negatively. Why? To facilitate re-establishment of their relationship. What does Mahamaya do? When these people don't recognizes the Lord, then they continue to live their life according to their own whims and fancies, and ultimately they become frustrated with their life. And when they become frustrated with their life, they now think hard why we are frustrated. And then actually they are bound to think, this is the reason we are frustrated. We are actually frustrated because we are forgotten the Lord. So Yoga Maya works in a separate way, in a different way, and Mahamaya works in a different way. Mahamaya works on atheists, non-devotees. Yoga Maya works on the close associates, pure devotees of the Lord. So we should understand that Lord can only be understood by Lord's mercy only. So this is the very beautiful transcendental nature of the Lord, that even the queens of Dwarka actually cannot fathom who is our husband. They cannot completely understand who their husband is. So with this, we complete the discussion of all the verses of chapter number 11. I hope it was a enjoyable session to you. Now, for the next session, we would like to announce the services for the class. Here, I think in the next session, Rakesh ji send me the name. So we have Vidya Mataji for Mangalacharan, and we have Ishwar Prabhuji for class summary. So Ishwar Prabhuji. But all glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Any comments, any questions, takeaways, we can discuss now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Was that
Hare
okay?
Krishna.
Yeah, okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Very nice class, Prabhuji. We enjoyed it thoroughly.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much. Very nice. Thanks for your appreciation and encouragement. Very good. Also, thank you all for giving me this opportunity to prepare, spend time with Bhagavatam over the weekend and share it with you. So myself also enjoyed the weekend very much. Thanks a lot. It is only because of your presence I can motivate myself to this extent. So thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Vasudevan Prabhu.
Class.
Once again,
Krishna.
nice summary for you from you also. Okay. Maybe I can say Hare Krishna to all the devotees whom I could not say.
Hare Krishna.
And in the beginning, Hare Krishna, Mataji,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
And Hare Krishna to Sadanand Prabhuji.
Hare
Probably. Okay, Mangala Mataji. And then Jai Mala Mataji. Okay, Shubha Puranik Mataji, Vidya Mataji. Okay. Okay, ji, thank you very much.
Also.
And Kartar Uncle Prabhu, yes.
क्या करूं भूल रहे हो तो गुरुजी को फिर मैंने कहा अंकल ही बनना
No, I think I remembered you in the class, so that's why I did not take your name.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, ji, thank you.
धन्यवाद.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
All glories to my Guruji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna ji. Hare Krishna.